The Straw Hats have just arrived on the most terrifying island in the Grand Line, and the worst part is, they don't even know it yet. Egghead Island isn't as obviously scary as Thriller Bark. It's probably a fun place to visit, full of cool technology and Dr. Vegapunk's pet projects. But there are secrets hidden inside the scrambled egg of Nile that will turn your hair white. The giant mechanical shark is only the start of what we are in for. So, are you ready for a scare? In this video, we'll be looking at what is lurking on Egghead Island and troubles our crew are going to have to get through and where they will be going after this. These Straw Hats might just need therapy after they're done with this one. Let's get into it. Dinner with Vegapunk. The Straw Hats' arrival on Egghead Island could have certainly gone better. Most of our pirate band have been arrested thanks to a giant robot and its excitable pilot. However, Dr. Vegapunk is the best captor that the Sunny's crew could hope for. While she is an employee of the world government and proud of the fact, she doesn't have any grudge against these Straw Hats. In fact, she's helped them in the past. She was the one who programmed Bartholomew Kuma to protect the Sunny during the time skip. That was a favor to Kuma, but it is still a connection between Vegapunk and the crew. It wouldn't be enough to save these Straw Hats from the good doctor, however. She has a job to do and can't let pirates wander around her secure lab. The world government would take it out on her if these Straw Hats were able to steal anything. They're likely in for imprisonment at best. If they're unlucky, they'll be the doctor's new test subjects. All the same, at least these Straw Hats can talk to Vegapunk. She is not an absolute justice worshipping zealot like Green Bull. They might even get a tour of the island before getting locked up. We have seen that Vegapunk can be distracted from securing prisoners if she starts worrying about her other work. It wouldn't be too hard for Franky to get her talking about technology and have the good doctor show him around. Professional courtesy from one scientist to another. Vegapunk's laboratory and workshop are going to give us some fascinating lore. They will also provide enough nightmare fuel to launch the next 5 NASA missions. There are some downright disturbing projects in Vegapunk's history. Most notably, she is the creator of the Pacifista line, mass-producing cyborg clones of Bartholomew Kuma. The creation process has to have been gruesome. Each Pacifista would have required full-body surgery to install complex cybernetic equipment. Vegapunk's operating room would have been covered in blood by the time she was done. And now that the project has moved on to a new phase, that may be 8,000 times worse. The Seraphim are kept on Egghead Island. This is where the tiny angels are being made under Vegapunk's direction. We could see a whole production line of children being manufactured as weapons for the world government. This is the stuff of nightmares. If they have cybernetics akin to pacifistas, Vegapunk would have been ripping out kids' internal organs. Worse, imagine if there were failed versions of the Seraphim. Egghead could be a full-on abattoir covered in the blood of children. A closer look at the process will show us one key point, however. What makes the Seraphim resemble Lunarians? That could simply be an aesthetic choice on Vegapunk's part. He's used technology to replicate powers before. The Pacifista lasers duplicate Kizaru's attacks, but they never use his other abilities. She could have done the same thing here, giving the Seraphim robotic wings and flamethrowers on the back of the neck. However, that would be a lot of work and gets Vegapunk very little. Kizaru's light powers are famous and intimidating. Only a handful of people recognize Lunarian traits. Thus, it is more likely that Vegapunk has really unlocked the potential of this lost race's DNA. We will see Lunarian children being turned into weapons of mass destruction, just like the Punk Hazard kids were before them. And it will all look like younger versions of the people these Straw Hats have already met. It will be a strange, twisted reunion for our heroes. I hope we are all ready for Seraphim Buggy to make his big entrance. It is the Seraph mom herself that is going to be the focus of this arc, however. Dr. Vegapunk has been teased as an important character for a very long time. She is the one who came up with the entire Pacifista project and who ultimately turned Kuma into a living weapon. She is also indirectly responsible for Sanji's history, having assisted Judge Vinsmoke during his time at MADS. She is at the heart of many terrifying developments and has a lot to answer for. But Vegapunk is also the one who stood up against Caesar Clown, getting him fired from the world government's scientific division. If she hadn't shot him down, the world government would have gotten his gas weapon. Now, it was Vegapunk's lineage factor research that led to her making Momonosuke's Devil Fruit. Without these powers, Wano would have ended very differently. And in chapter 1061, Vegapunk directly saved the Straw Hats from a monster she created, but still. It's really hard to call her a hero or a villain. Everything we've seen about Vegapunk focuses on science. She is a professional. She has a code of ethics, but what it covers is tough to predict. The one person who may have real insight here is Franky. He visited Vegapunk's homeland of Baltimore during the 2-year time skip, studying her laboratory. He has incorporated some of the good doctor's designs into his cyborg body. He could be the key to these Straw Hats persuading Vegapunk to help them, talking to her as an equal and getting her to see the crew as friends. They share a lot of design sense. They might be able to collaborate on improving each other's giant robots. That's the more optimistic version anyway. Vegapunk and Franky could just as easily end up in a bitter rivalry. Both are highly proud of their work. The interests they share with one another may drive the two scientists to argue, each convinced of their own superiority. We could see an outright war between the Vega Force 1 and the General Franky. That would be a good watch. We could have a battle of science with Franky and Vegapunk trying to one-up each other. Imagine all the new modes and accessories they throw together. Luffy and Chopper are going to be sore when they find out how much giant robot fighting they have missed. And to make sure you're not disappointed, be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload, and hit that like button for some plot armor today. Egghead Island Tourism Board. Getting back to Luffy's team, they are going to be our focus when it comes to exploring Egghead Island. Most of the action of this arc is going to focus on these four. Even if Franky is able to buy the Straw Hats a little freedom, they will technically be in marine custody. It'll fall to Luffy, Chopper, Jinbei, and Bonnie to venture into the island's depths and hopefully spring the rest of the crew from Vegapunk's laboratory jail. Bonnie is going to be the key to this. She is experienced in espionage. We have seen her sneak into Mary Joyce. If she can reach the heart of world government territory, Egghead Island shouldn't pose too much trouble for her. With her Delphoid abilities, she can make the whole group unrecognizable. And hey, we could get some real fun with this. It's a chance for Old Man Chopper and Kid Luffy to make a comeback. The big question is how willing Bonnie will be to work with these Straw Hats. We know she is on Egghead Island due to her own business with Vegapunk, not to save the crew. And that's going to come first, even if she owes Luffy and friends a favor for saving her. While Bonnie hasn't experienced what she's come to Egghead for, astute viewers will be able to guess. Bonnie infiltrated the Reverie to help Kuma escape Mary Joyce. We even have a quote on her Vivery card concept art gallery that reads, "Let Vegapunk restore my father." While a few words on concept art are hard proof, we can be fairly sure Bonnie is here to try and restore Kuma. His entire situation would be extremely personal for her if she is his daughter. That would make her the princess of the Sorbet Kingdom, the realm that called Kuma a tyrant. Bonnie would be used to people treating him like some scary demon. Seeing her father truly become a living weapon must have hurt her deeply. Of course, she would want to try and reverse the process. However, Bonnie is no fool. She is going to be cautious with her mission here. She has not come here for a fight. She didn't bring her crew after all. Her plan is likely to steal as many of Vegapunk's notes as possible and take them to the Revolutionary Army. Hopefully, their doctors might be able to reverse Kuma's cybernetic surgery. However, there is no guarantee Dragon's doctors could undo the Pacifista enhancements. Bonnie may attempt something much riskier if she sees an opportunity. If she is able to reach Egghead's main laboratory, Bonnie could take Vegapunk as a hostage. She will demand the mad scientist to fix her broken father. Although that would be out of character for Bonnie. In the past, she has shown herself very practical about fights she can't win. Trying to capture Vegapunk on a government-held island, that is one of the few things even more risky than attacking a world noble. But given how personal this quest is for her, emotions may override her better judgment. If she does consider a plan like this, Bonnie will first ditch her new allies. For all her tough talk, she is unlikely to willingly lead them into danger. They just saved her life after all. Alternatively, however, Bonnie might just find the Straw Hats to be willing allies. Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei are all compassionate people. They don't need the offer of a reward to justify doing the right thing. If she explains her plan, the three will give Bonnie just the backup she needs to confront the Mad Doctor directly. Before they reach that point, however, the four members of Team Luffy will need to get through Egghead Island. And even disguised, that will not be easy. Egghead is 500 years ahead of the rest of the world. This is a world government-controlled island, but unlike Enies Lobby, the Marines protecting this place have access to experimental technology. Should a fight break out, the Straw Hats will be facing Marines armed with powerful weapons. Laser rifles, steam-powered armor, motorized pursuit vehicles, and cybernetic guard dogs are all very plausible. Even rank and file Marines are going to be an issue when they use Vegapunk tier equipment. And the normal guards are only the starting point. If G14 deploys to the island, Prince Gruss and Dahl are powerful enough to be major threats. Rank in the Marines comes with combat skill. We know all Vice Admirals can use Haki, and given his position in Sword, Gruss is almost certainly tougher than a regular Rear Admiral. Give the pair jetpacks and power gloves, and they'll be downright vicious. Any fight is going to be tough. And even if the Straw Hats for once succeed in staying out of trouble, however, Egghead is a big place. It is a hollowed out mountain full of Vegapunk's work. Luffy and friends have a lot of territory to explore, and there are all sorts of dangers that are going to be laying around. Vegapunk has a bad habit of leaving old experiments behind and moving on. We could have independent pacifistas wandering the island, Vegapunk having restored some basic free will to them. Imagine a whole village of Kumas. We might see robots, monsters, or robotic monsters. all sorts of dangerous things are possible. There could even be some living Lunarians, either pre-treatment Seraphim or completely unaltered clones. The craziest possibility, however, that would be additional Vegapunks, a series of clones made to better keep up with the workload the world government demands. The one we have seen has 02 on her jumpsuit. Is this Vegapunk's second body or simply the second of her batch of Vegapunk clones? However, there's one thing we know for a fact will be on Egghead Island. As of Punk Hazard, we know what Vegapunk's favorite type of monster is: dragons. She grew up in a snow-blasted wasteland. Naturally, fire-breathing lizards would capture the imagination. Vegapunk even created one of her own and cloned Kaido's Devil Fruit. There is no way she could have resisted the temptation to make a new dragon on Egghead Island. Given what we saw for Shark, odds are good that we are seeing a mecha dragon here. And hey, maybe that will be enough to even give Gear 5 Luffy a decent fight. Then again, Luffy's team may have even more dangerous things to deal with, like Helmeppo, Sword of Damocles. No, I'm not kidding. Helmeppo is the most dangerous character in One Piece right now. Okay, maybe I'm kidding a little bit. The Marines we have seen at G14 are going to be important. Vegapunk is a servant of the world government, but it is the Navy that enforces their laws. They are the ones who will ultimately decide what to do with the captured Straw Hats. There are several Marines here who have a good history with Luffy's crew and know that they are trustworthy. Tashigi and Smoker should both be on the island. This is where they took the Punk Hazard kids for their recovery. Smoker is keeping to himself, but Tashigi at least should be able to intervene if Vegapunk delivers these Straw Hats into G14's custody. Helmeppo would do the same, but from what we have seen, no one is going to take him seriously. For now, however, the base does not know about these Straw Hats. They are focused on the question of Koby. The decision of what they should do has been fierce, with Prince Gruss ruling out any kind of offensive action against Blackbeard. And this is quite a strange stance when you think about it. Gruss's words make sense in isolation. Blackbeard's forces would put up one hell of a fight. However, Sword specializes in espionage. We learned about them through Drake's infiltration of the Beast Pirates. They won't have to fight Blackbeard's crew if they sneak onto Hachinosu. There would still be some danger, but this should be what Sword does. Why is Gruss so hesitant? Saying they have to wait for Drake is also strange. The man was alive when we last saw him, injured but able to move and talk. It's not clear what stopped him from making contact with Sword after the Battle of Onigashima. What's more, Diaz has been away from the team for years by this point. Even when he was a Marine, his rank was equal to Gruss's. So Gruss needs to wait for someone who is equal in rank to him before making a decision? That sounds like an excuse. Even if Prince Gruss is being sincere, this is going to backfire hard. Helmeppo and Hibari are not going to just stand around and do nothing. They want to save Koby. Egghead is close enough for them to reach it. It has to be. If Vegapunk has been overseeing the Giant Kids treatment plan, the first chance they get, these two will sneak over to the Island of Science. Helmeppo was part of the Amazon Lily attack force. He must at least know the basics of where the Seraphim are kept. It wouldn't be hard for him to find one. However, that wouldn't be enough to get it working. The Seraphim are cyborgs with complex programming. They can't be easy to operate and may only respond to specific handlers. Helmeppo probably knows the basics, but he is way in over his head here. It is almost certain that they are going to make the Seraphim run wild. We have seen the power level of these tiny monsters back on Amazon Lily. One of these tots going on a rampage will leave Egghead Island in total chaos. It may take Luffy and his friends to get the malfunctioning Angel back under control. Horror Unleashed. That will be a tough fight, but these Straw Hats are more than enough to subdue one rogue Seraphim. Zoro took down King even without his friend's help. It is what comes next that will define Egghead Island for One Piece fans. Luffy is going to run into Helmeppo and Hibari. Our poor Lieutenant Commander won't believe his luck. He will likely spill his guts, pleading for Luffy to help save Koby. And that'll work for sure. Luffy was ready to charge off and help Vivi with no idea of where she was. With a clear goal like get Koby out of Hachinosu, he'll be trying to get off of Egghead Island as soon as possible, wanting to go save his friend as soon as he can. But it is not going to be that easy. Egghead Island is one of the world government's most heavily fortified institutions. They aren't going to let a band of notorious pirates go free without a fight. The only question is, who will take point among the Marine forces? Which of these characters will be the final obstacle between Luffy and the Sunny? The obvious first answer is Dr. Vegapunk herself. She is an employee of the world government, and this is her island. She's got a ton of resources to throw between the Straw Hats and their freedom. There could be pacifistas, Seraphim, and of course, her own giant robot. It would be an all-out war to get past her. However, she has consistently shown heroic qualities. She worked to make her homeland better as a child. She saved the Punk Hazard kids. All of Vegapunk's worst actions are done in service of the world government. This could be her chance to break free from the shackles of tyranny, defy her employer, and help people who need it. We might see the Vega Force 1 turn against the Navy, smashing through G14 to clear the way for the Straw Hats' escape. If Vegapunk defies the world government, the main fighter trying to recapture Luffy and his friends will be Sentomaru. We haven't seen him in a while because Kizaru's loser nephew was Vegapunk's bodyguard. He led the pacifistas in battle and was quite a formidable threat himself. What's more of a concern is his outlook. Sentomaru was always a professional, focused on the job. Furthermore, we've seen Vegapunk is prone to getting distracted. Sentomaru, being the professional, may be able to take control of Egghead's defenses and take them away from Vegapunk. Assisting the Straw Hats' escape may lead to the Doctor getting imprisoned instead, or even dying. That would be a very tragic note to end the arc on. But there is another potential threat in play here, one that could add a devastating twist to this final battle. We have seen multiple comparisons between Punk Hazard and Egghead Island. We have a similar cold environment, the crew is divided, and a member of the worst generation has joined us as an ally. If this pattern holds true, we may see a second Virgo. Punk Hazard gave us a Marine officer who was in league with local pirates. Virgo even killed his own men to cover up his crimes. He was a devastating threat, matching Sanji and Smoker blow for blow. Could one of the Marines on G14 be a traitor too? There is a clear candidate. Prince Gruss has been stonewalling efforts to free Koby. What if there's more to that? Blackbeard has allied with former naval officers in the past, most notably Shiryu of the Rain. Gruss commands the Marine base closest to Hachinosu. He would be the perfect traitor. If he is affiliated with the Blackbeard Pirates, the Fair Prince will pull out all these stops to make sure the Straw Hats don't reach Hachinosu. He won't allow an attack on his employer's headquarters if he can help it. This betrayal would be devastating. Gruss is the highest ranking member of SWORD on G14. Even if Vice Admiral Dahl countermands him, Prince can throw his own men and resources right at the Straw Hats. He has the authority to deploy Seraphim. And unlike loyal Marine officer Sentomaru and Dahl, he won't care about Marines getting caught in the crossfire. This arc may end with a flight of angels descending on the island, killing everything in their path to try and reach the Thousand Sunny. But of course, these Straw Hats will make it through one way or another. They'll suffer some blows, a few may get knocked out, but they can get past anything. The crew will leave Egghead behind and sail on to the next island, Hachinosu. The battle to free Koby is coming next, and the Straw Hats crew versus the Blackbeard Pirates promises to be insane. But what do you think? Will there be some extra twist to Egghead Island? Could something even more dangerous lurk in the shadows? And where do you think we're headed next? Leave us your answers in the comments down below. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.